Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week, so happy Wednesday to you and your family. We begin today with a video of a child visiting his father's grave. I want to share these moments with you just to give you perspective how good of a life we have here in the West. At least that's what I feel. Living here in Estonia, I never have to wake up with air alarm at 5 a.m. in the morning the way I had to in Kyiv, in Ukraine. And I do have a father, I do have a mother, I have a family, I have a wife, and they're safe. So, such a blessing. And if you do feel the same way, just remember it, keep it in mind and keep your loved ones close. Because in Ukraine, this kid is visiting his father's grave. We'll begin the middle of this week with this kind of perspective video that gives us that vision and perspective, the value, what good we have here in the West. That's what I feel, at least I want to share it. All right, my friends. Now I will bring to you a Russian soldier from the front. I mean, we haven't watched for a long time Russian troops speaking their minds on the front. I used to do that all the time, but not recently. And so I will read you the subtitles. And this guy is really trying to tell to us that he was trying to find a place to take a dump at, a basement, and an FPV came, a Ukrainian one, and he heard it. But this one is specific video because it has real special effects. Check it out. So we ran into the basement. And I came out, I wanted to take a dump. And while I was going into the basement, we get transmission that a drone is coming our way. And these, they do this just that. They fly right on the line, they don't give an F, they're on their way and they're looking for a target. We're already in the basement and I speak so fast and I want to take a dump so bad, but I decided I don't give an F, I'm getting out. Ooh, this guy's brave. I would have a dump in my pants if there for sure. So I'm out, I'm going to take a dump. Okay, we get it. I'm looking at it, I can hear it. How like that's the opening of the cluster. Special effects, no Hollywood special effects needed, because you got the real thing right here. At the moment he is describing how he's going to take a dump on the front line and a drone chases him. He gets hit by the drone for the second time. Be careful where you take the dump, Ivan. Very nice. Now, my friends, I want to share you a human story. I usually share these on the Ukrainian side, but this one comes from the Russian side. I bring to you the engineer, the key engineer behind the Iskander missile, one of Russia's more expensive and deadliest ballistic missiles. It makes a very big of a kaboom and it's very expensive and semi-modern. The engineer behind key Russian missile used to kill Ukrainians died broke and alone. He retired with no money, became an alcoholic. On Victory Day, he drank with old friends, went to urinate near an apartment block, got kicked by the tenant, fell down the stairs and died. I feel like this is a very generic Russian experience. When you're like a pensioner in Russia, you go to urinate in your panelka or paradna as they call. Somebody kicks you, you fall down the stair and die. I mean, that's just generic thing that can actually happen to you there. Vladimir Nedashivin, 74, a key figure in developing Russia's Iskander missile system, which now is used to kill Ukrainians, was found dead in a Kolomna apartment building on May the 9th. Then Babede, I mean, it's a good day to go, I guess, just like their grandfathers. After retirement, he struggled with alcohol and became isolated. Medics confirmed Nedashivin died from injuries caused by his neighbor, 32-year-old plumber Anatoly Golobaitsev. The incident occurred after Nedashivin urinated in the building's entrance, leading to a confrontation with Golobaitsev, who pushed him down the stairs, and then he died. I know I should not be laughing about this, but when I hear this, generic Russian experience when you're peeing in your apartment building entrance and a neighbor kicks you and you fall down the stair and die. That's just your fate if you're living in one of those panelkas in Russia. But now, just to give you an idea, what is this Iskander missile? He worked on it, he was a key engineer behind it, and now these missiles are being mass-produced. Well, mass-produced is a wrong word. They can be produced slowly because they do use Western chips in them. Yes, Iskander missiles right now have Western chips in them. Russia is able to make them if they can smuggle them into the country, which they can, but very slowly. But in this video, it came out yesterday, and it pains me to share this. This video is 50 clicks from the state border, Russian-Ukrainian border in the Sumy Oblast. It's a Ukrainian National Guard training base, and this is a Russian recon drone up in the air right now. As we can see, Ukrainians are training, using this base actively to train out in the open, only 50 clicks away, which is almost long-range FPV distance, almost, not quite. But the thing is, why are Ukrainian commanders or officers allowing this to happen? This is criticism against Ukrainian officers, local officers who do this 50 clicks from the front or Russian border, training men like that out in the open, running in clusters like that. This should not happen. Because Russians struck this space with an Iskander missile. I mean, we just talked about the key engineer behind that missile. Well, here it is. They used that missile. Usually they use it for civilian targets, but now this is a military target, and it made a very big kaboom. We now know also how many soldiers perished. It was 7 soldiers. By the time I get this information now, it's 7. It might go up more. 7 soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, died in this attack. So this is a question to the Ukrainian local officers. Somebody made the choice to go jogging in the morning with the whole platoon out in the open, 50 clicks from the front, from the state border. Now, this is not a good decision. These officers need to take responsibility about the threat they put their men into when they make this decision to go out in the open like that. I do hope they launch an investigation on this. What would happen if I just threw my vape out of the window? Turns out I did. And here's what I replaced it with. No vapor, no nicotine, just flavor. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavors that satisfy your craving without the downside. My go-to flavor is crisp mint because it's super refreshing and keeps me feeling sharp throughout the day, but Fume offers tons of different flavors, so there's something for everyone. If you're used to vapor, Fume may not be as strong as you'd expect at first, but it also won't leave you in a hospital bed. Fume can be compared to a herbal tea if vapor was compared to a sticky soda. Not as sweet and a lot more natural. Over 500,000 people have already made the switch to Fume as part of their habit-changing journey. If you are ready to try it for yourself, now is the time. For a limited time, if you order the Journey Pack using my code Estonian, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Click the link tryfume.com/Estonian or scan the QR code on the screen to get yours today. Thank you, Fume, for sponsoring today's video. But it wasn't only the Russians who were sending missiles and drones to Ukraine yesterday. Also, Ukrainians sent some presents back. I'm talking about the flying presents, of course. Ukrainian drones struck the Artur region, Russia, last night. The target was Bolkhov semiconductor device plant. Russians are producing some semiconductors, of course, but these are of lower quality and not so fast and modern as the Western ones. They smuggle in the Western ones, but they produce some, and this is specifically producing for military needs. It develops and produces electronic equipment and semiconductors for the military. And in this video, we can actually see Ukrainian drones up in the air. Let me find the place for you where it is. It's very dark, but civilians never fail me in Russia because they always film when anything happens. And I love it because for me and you, we can actually watch. Look at that. A beautiful Ukrainian long-range attack drone up in the air. You can see it even in the dark. Spreading some freedom. Very nice. I'm continuing on the drone topic because SBU, Ukrainian SBU, released a very cool footage of their marine drones releasing FPV drones. So it's Ukrainian marine drones and FPV drones working together. It's awesome. So this right now is a recon drone, Ukrainian recon drone. It's watching this platform, oil platform and gas platform of the Black Sea. I mean, this is part of how Russians do make their money. And they are sending a marine drone here, which carries an FPV. They're sending it close to the platform. We see it in a moment. This is the FPV they released, and it connects to the surveillance systems on the platform. And this here is the marine drone which released the FPV. It's really awesome that Ukrainians have this technology of sending these boat drones, marine drones, Magura V5 or Sea Baby. And on top of that, they have FPVs which lengthen the range even more, and they can go onto ground and strike anything there. It's a crazy combination of these two capabilities. And you can see the kaboom here. So they're focusing down on these Russian oil platforms to focus down on the Russian revenues that funnel money into the payments for Russian soldiers, for example. But now, my friends, I have yet more videos for you. I have plenty of videos for you today because so much are released every day. I want you to know all important ones. Here we go to Northern Front, Iskander River. I mean, this front has been hot ever since 2022. I remember covering it all the time. And this is the very same Iskander River where the fighting pretty much stalled in 2022. And Russian logistics, you can see it happening right now over the river. It's a makeshift raft with an ATV and a trolley behind it. I don't know how you call it, like the trolley or and it's filled with food and ammunition. It goes to the front line. As you can see on the ATV, there is a jammer with 4 different antennas. In very primitive terms, it tells you that they are jamming 4 different wavelengths of 4 different wavelengths, because when you have cheap mass-producible jammers, they usually don't switch their wavelengths that they jam, so you have to have many of them to cover the whole spectrum. Ukrainians do the same thing, so these here jam as much as possible, 4 different wavelengths. But there are so many that Ukrainians can use and Russians can use that are not being jammed. But it's interesting to see an ATV with jammers. This means that Russians take this logistics very seriously. And you can see how they go across the border. And this is how they supply their front line in the Iskander River. I just want to show you where we are geographically. This is the northern area, Kharkiv Oblast. And I'll zoom into the Iskander. Russians, 2022, the front line was pretty much hugging the Iskander River right now, right here, Iskander. But now Russians are very slowly, in 2 years, have pushed 1 click ahead. This is about 1,000 meters, maybe 700 meters at some point, 1,500 meters ahead of this river. So very slowly with big casualties. But at some point, it still hogs the river, the front line. But yeah, Russians haven't really moved much, but they have lost a lot of troops in this area. Now I want to introduce you to a video that is, I want to show you this to break the illusion that only Ukrainians have some kind of capabilities. Yes, marine drones. Only Ukrainians have marine drones. Russians don't use them. We haven't seen it. But here I bring you an interceptor drone, which the Russians are using and the Russians developed. This is, you aim it like a pistol and then you release it and it goes and connects to the drone. Look at it. It's a Russian one. And it's called Yolka. Yolka UAV interceptor right here. It started up and it goes, and we can specifically see how it works. This is a target right here. It goes, searches for the target, very close to it. I'll speed it up for you. Now connects to, check it out. No explosion even. It just breaks it apart with the kinetic force and the drone falls down. So Russians have interceptor drones and Ukrainians have interceptor drones, just to break the illusion that some capabilities are only Ukrainian, some are only Russian. Yes, there are these specific areas that both sides are leading in, not much, but some weeks of development, some area Ukrainians are leading, some area Russians are leading. But for example, interceptor drones, both have them, both are using them to destroy the enemy's long-range drones and recon drones. Just to illustrate it more, here are Ukrainian interceptor drones. This is a video from a Ukrainian interceptor that just took down a Shahed drone. Look at it. This is a Shahed, it finds it, goes, connects to it, just takes it down. Both sides have it. And this gets even more ridiculous. You would not believe it. Now I'm going to show, I showed you a video of Ukrainian marine drone with an FPV. Now I show you Ukrainian FPV hunting down a Russian UGV. UGV is an unmanned ground vehicle or a ground drone. This one you can see right here, it's Russian. And the drone FPV is Ukrainian. So this is fully drone wars. The future is now. This is going on right now. Ukrainian FPV connecting into Russian UGV. And we see it here. Drone pilots on both sides just fighting each other with the drones in no man's land. This is crazy. And just to illustrate again, Russians also have UGVs, much like the Ukrainians. But here is something that the Ukrainians don't have, and maybe for a reason, because the Russians here are showing their newest infantry fighting vehicle on the front lines, and it's you can see it in a moment here. It's a Porsche Cayenne. I don't know where Russians got it and how the hell is it still working, because Porsche Cayennes are so horrible with the reliability rating. They don't even work in civilian world. They only work when they're 5 years old. 1 to 5 years ownership they work. After that, it's garbage of a car. Drives nice, but the reliability is one of the worst there is. It's one of the least reliable cars in the world, similar to Russian Lada. But they got one of these working, driving in the mud in Ukraine. I'm saying Ukrainians don't have this, and maybe for a reason. Now, my friends, we're arrived in a time in this video what I do in every video. I want to bring to you Buy Me a Coffee monthly members, and the newest ones. We have Jochen Jenks. And if you don't know what I'm doing, if you're new to the channel, some of you are new subscribers, then yes, in every video I'll be naming new monthly members on Buy Me a Coffee, and I'll be butchering their names because Estonian language is strange. We read how we pronounce. It's not like the English language, so I'm just taking these names and just reading them as I would as an Estonian. And for some names, I mean, they're like straight from hell after that pronunciation. Cassandra Brank. Ivan Velikho. I have 3 names only, not 5. But if you want to change that, then Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description below. I'll be butchering your name also. How are Russians able to get 30,000 plus volunteers a month into the army? Well, there are 2 answers. First of all, money. Money. There's no patriotism involved, although some Westerners have a real issue understanding that. There's no patriotism. They don't love Russia. They want money. Most of the ones who join are from the poorer regions of Russia, where monthly wage, and this will shock you, is about 100 to 200, maybe 300 euros or dollars per month. Maybe 400. If you're from Germany, from Australia, from the United States, imagine that you're getting $400 per month. And then the army comes in and says, if you go to be a private in the army, you go to be part of the meat assault, because that's where they're all sent. You will get 1,000 plus 2,000 maybe a month plus 10,000 immediately as the first payment. This is a massive amount of money, a few years worth of monthly payments as their regular job. So they will join up. They want that money because everybody they know are living in poverty. Money is the reason. Money comes from oil and gas export. But the second answer is that they're actually rounding up Uzbeks, Tajiks, Kyrgyz people who are in Russia. They're working in Russia, and they will be rounded up. Some of them will be forced into the army. Others will be persuaded with payments. Others will be forced to leave the country or join the military. Just to prove to you that Putin is Russianizing Russia with this war, is that he's sending all the ethnic minorities to fight and die, so there would be more Russians in Russia. Check it out. This is a video from the front, a Russian soldier. Or is it a Russian soldier? Let's find out. That's what happens when you gather at the front. I am Niv. Here I'm Chuka. Yakut. These are not names, these are ethnic minorities in Russia. They're not their names. These are like non-Russian ethnic minorities, Central Asian ethnic minorities. Yakut. The Yakuts have gathered again. Nanai. Kazakh. Still hasn't left. Tajik. Yukagir. Now, Yukagir population is extremely small in Russia. We're talking about a few thousand to like tens of thousands of people who are in Russia, and they are still sent to the front because they live in Russia in one of the poorest areas. And here they are, Yukagir. Putin wants these people gone from Russia because he wants to Russianize Russia. So he's just using them as mercenaries. Yukagir. He must be 278. Buryat. That's how they fight for Russia. And they say it to themselves, not a single Russian. This is what they are saying. It's not me. So this is the tactic Russia has been using for a long amount of time, because for 3 to 4 centuries already in the Russian Empire times, in the 1800s, for example, all the occupied areas, all the occupied peoples had to send nekruts. You don't have that word anymore, but nekrut meant a forced soldier from occupied lands into the Russian army. At some point, the service was lasting up to 20 years. You had to do that as nekrut. So this is the same way, only in this instance he's manipulating them with money. Now, my friends, let's fly to the Finnish border a little bit, because Finland, you know, the newest NATO member, has 900 kilometers, almost 1,000 kilometers of border with Russia. Most of it is not fenced, it's just woods and bogs and mountains, just wild nature. Because such a long border, it's extremely expensive and difficult to monitor all the time. Satellite imagery shows Russia expanding military bases near Finland's border with new tents, warehouses, renovated jets, shelters and helicopter base under construction. NATO confirms these moves, but notes that they are less intense than Russia's pre-2022 Ukraine build-up. With few troops currently deployed due to Ukraine war, the expansion appears long-term. Finland, NATO's newest member, has 830-mile NATO-Russian border. Finnish officials predict Russia could triple its troops presence within 5 years if Ukraine conflict subsides. And this is the newest satellite photo, close to St. Petersburg, Kamienka, which used to be a Finnish area, but now, since Finland had to cede 11% of the territory to Stalin after the continuation war, winter war, now it's Russia. And tents at the Russian training base, we see these new tents. Of course, you don't gotta worry about tents. February 2025. But Russians are worried about Finland also, because now they have a long NATO border, 1,000 kilometers, which is not protected from the Russian side at all. It's never going to happen. But if Finland would want to do continuation war number 2, so the third war with Russia, they could just march in, because there's nothing there. It's just woods. Both sides could march in. If one of these sides wants to start reinforcing the border, it's going to be massively expensive. Continuing on the Finnish topic, Finnish parliament has decided to buy $100 million worth of ammunition to Ukraine. But where are they taking the money? I'm glad you asked, because they are taking the money from the proceeds of frozen Russian assets. You know, legally, the whole Western world has not figured out how to take the Russian assets. No country has ever done it yet. But these Russian assets, they're in the worth of 300 billion in the West, frozen, and they gather proceeds, dividends, interest. Most countries have used these interests to buy weapons to Ukraine, and so is Finland right now doing it. 100 million of interests from the Russian assets. So this hurts Putin the most, because he knows it's his money stuck in the West, and it makes more money because money makes money. And Finnish are using that money to buy weapons to Ukraine. This is insane. Value of the contract is 90 million euros, $100 million. And you know what the Russians said? I quote, one Russian Duma member said, "The current Finnish leadership has lost its mind. And if Russians are saying that to you and your country's activities, you're doing something right." On Monday, Donald Trump called Putin and he played it up for so long. He played it up that I have to talk to Putin personally to make peace. Trump has some kind of an idea built up in his head that he has any kind of leverage over Putin and he has any kind of leverage over how this Russo-Ukrainian war will play out and that he has any kind of leverage over Ukraine. The painful truth to Trump is that he doesn't have the cards. He doesn't have leverage over Ukraine or over Russia. Putin doesn't do what Trump wants. Zelensky doesn't do what Trump wants. And Trump, I don't know if he's slowly realizing that or not, but this is the truth. So they made their little call on Monday, Trump and Putin. And just to illustrate it to you even further, I've been saying this for months and months. Trump is the only one who doesn't understand that he cannot change this war. He can only change it by weaponizing Ukraine, no other way. He thinks he can end it. He cannot. He has never been able to cannot end it. Putin is very glad that Trump called him because by Trump calling him, Trump validates Russia and Russia's actions, validates Putin, gives Russia more time. Putin just wants this war to continue. He cannot afford peace because the entire economy of Russia needs war to survive. Civilian economies are collapsing one by one there. But military-industrial complex keeps the wages up, keeps people going to work in 3 shifts, gives them a goal why everything is so depressed and effed up in Russia. But we are at war. This is the goal. It justifies everything. When there is peace, you start to think about what's going on around you. So Putin cannot have that anymore. He doesn't want peace. But Trump gave another gift to Putin by calling him. They talked for 2.5 hours and nothing came from it. Now, I'm gonna say this in every video. Trump just gives these gifts and handouts to Putin, giving him the stage into international attention. But let's watch, my friends, what Putin said after this call. Here is a straight video, straight after they had this call. And this call, Trump played it out all the time. That this was the 3rd call between Putin and Trump this year. Trump played it out that I need to talk to Putin, then this is going to be over. He has been saying that this war is going to be over next week. We're getting closer. As I always say, my friends, no, Trump does not hold any cards on this war. He stopped funding Zelensky, weaponizing Ukrainian army. He cannot control what Putin does. He just lost all the leverage over any sides on this war. But let's say what Putin said. The conversation took place. It went for over 2 hours. I would like to point out that it was very informative and very frank. One, the issue of the cessation of hostilities, the ceasefire. And for my part, I also noted that Russia is also in favor of a peaceful resolution of the Ukrainian crisis. Wow. We must simply determine the most effective ways to move towards peace. All these words are for Trump because he wants Trump to believe that Russians want peace. And this buys Putin time and buys Putin time away from United States sanctions, which can really hurt Russia. So Trump is fully under the influence of Putin because if he would really understand right now that he's being played, I guess he would get mad and lash out and sanction the hell out of Russia or weaponize the hell out of Ukrainian army. But he thinks he can do something. He thinks he can go in history as a peacemaker, but he can't. Trump, being a puppet as he is, Putin is playing him like a fiddle. We have agreed with the US president that Russia will offer and is ready to work with the Ukrainian side on a memorandum on a possible future peace 3D, with the definition of number of positions, such as, for example, the principles of settlement, timeline for a possible peace agreement. Such empty words, man. Such round talk and empty words. Damn. He can speak so and so on, including a possible ceasefire for a certain period of time. Yada, yada, what are you yapping about? You gotta be blind at this point not to see that Putin is buying time and playing Trump like a fiddle. I don't know why Trump doesn't see that. Doesn't really understand at all. Now, my friends, we will travel to the European Union Parliament where Hungarian opposition leader Peter Magyar is speaking about the truth in Hungarian social and economic situation. This is important because Hungary, Viktor Orban being one of the biggest simps for Putin, biggest fanboys of Putin, he has really let Hungarian people and economy down for such a long time, and is one of the biggest NATO allies also in the area, very important country to the EU and to NATO. We cannot let them go, but the Hungarian people are suffering. So let's see the truth about Hungary. Hungary has the second lowest minimum wage at 668 euros. In Poland it's 1,000 euros and in Slovenia it's 1,250. In Poland since 2010 the minimum wage has tripled. This is powerful economic growth, my friends. Tripled in 15 years. This is massive. In Hungary, it's stagnation, much like Brezhnev times in the Soviet Union. You shouldn't have stagnation if you're living in European Union. I mean, this is a free trade union. You should flourish. But not Hungary. In Romania, they have quintupled the minimum wage. And food is 30% cheaper there. You've increased the national debt of our country by 2.5 times. This is to Viktor Orban. To a European record. Inflation is high, VAT is the highest in Europe. On average, Hungarian people pay more for gas and electricity, more expensively than their European counterparts. While you appear weekly in the public media, the leaders of the opposition have not been allowed to do so for 6 months. Yeah, because in Hungary, Orban and his friends own like 90% of the media. It is very anti-democratic. It's definitely not the freedom of speech or freedom of media. By the way, Estonia now is the second freest media in the world. There's a separate index of how to do that, how to count that, and we are the second freest media in the world. Well, Hungary is in the back of the list. Why you have spent 1,300 billion forints in 5 years on propaganda, while the Hungarian state is not functioning and public services are falling apart. Prime Minister, you and I both know it's over. The Sea of Nations has risen, and whatever vile means your government resorts to, whatever threats it makes, we, together with millions of Hungarian people, are taking back our country. I'm so glad to hear it, because the Russians lost in Romania. They're going to lose in Hungary also. There will be another elections, and Orban is going to be out. And Orban is the strongest Russian sympathizer in Europe and in NATO, and his time is up. Just to illustrate to you even more, Russians themselves will prove it that they meddled in the Romanian election, and they lost. They put a lot of money into those campaigns, like massive amount of money through FSP and the local cultural society, houses and gatherings and kindergartens, and you have no idea how the Russian money is funneled. It's crazy. It's funneled literally through kindergartens and schools and cultural groups. It's massive. So, Pavel Durov, the owner and builder of the Telegram group, a Russian living in Russia, working with the Russian government, says, I'm ready to come and testify if it helps Romanian democracy. George Simeon, the one who lost the election, says, I officially asked the Constitutional Court to annul the Romanian presidential elections, May 25, for the reason December elections were unnullified. And Margarita Simonian, one of the biggest propagandists in Russia, says 2 sayings, one in English, one in Russia, better late than never, a spoon is valuable at dinner time. So you have 3 of these Russian simps all mad that they lost the election in Romania. They lost an opportunity to have Romania like they have Hungary. So they prove it to you themselves by being so salty about it, that they lost a massive amount of money and power in Romania right now. And this is Nicos Urdan, the one who won, is going to be the next Romanian president. Very educated man, a centrist in his political views, pro-European Union, pro-NATO. It's a great victory for the people of the European Union. I personally feel like I won when this guy was elected, because the other choice was just a Russian choice. Look at that European Union flag, beautiful blue with the stars. And people are happy. I am happy. This was it, my friends, for Wednesday. I will be back for you on Friday and also for Saturday for channel members, because then you will get extra analysis video of some topic connected to this war, but not quite the front lines. So become a member of the channel. Link is in the description below. It's only 99 cents, so it's pretty much free. And you will get a very cool video each Saturday. Until then, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye. Click the link tryfume.com/Estonian or scan the QR code on the screen to get yours today. Thank you, Fume, for sponsoring today's video.